Previously on the Convent. 30 days ago, 4 women entered this enclosed Poor Clare community, hoping they could reassess their core values. Angela has turned her back on a 6-figure salary in search of spirituality. Victoria, a poet in an open marriage, wants to be accepted. Iona, an evangelical Christian, has struggled with the Poor Clare's restrained worship and long periods of silence. And Debbie, who has perhaps made the biggest sacrifice. She's left behind her husband and 5-year-old son. The women are free spirits, the nuns steadfast and disciplined. These 2 very different worlds have been trying to live as one. It's made for testing times and some surprises along the way. Debbie's fear of God hasn't stopped her making a huge leap of faith.
Why here? Why now? And I've never heard him before. You know, I've prayed and I was like, please God, you know, let me get that job. Please God, let me pay the gas bill. Please God this, please God that. And sometimes I prayed really hard.
But to get there, she's had to reveal the core of her pain, abandonment by her mother and its devastating impact on her life.
And she said that everything was going to be okay because she would see me in 6 weeks' time. And then I thought, maybe she meant 6, when I'm 6 years old and she didn't come. And then I thought maybe 6 weeks after 6 and she didn't come.
I feel like there is
The women have been on an emotional roller coaster.
Don't like these 4 walls now, just wanna breathe.
Iona, the only guest with a confirmed faith, has found the discipline of a strict convent timetable hard to swallow.
Someone said to me yesterday, what is it in your day that you're looking forward to? And all I could think of was actually meals in bed.
But the nun's selfless generosity brings Iona round.
So few people give anything. I'm really good at giving, just not very used to receiving with kind of love, you know?
Even atheist Victoria is moved. But for her, finding faith is a tug of war.
I've always thought that that was really lucky for people who got religion. I can't do it, but I want to. I want to be able to say, unburden me, take it all away, cradle me in your arms and make me feel better.
For her new friend Angela, used to getting results, it's a different kind of struggle.
I get mad with myself if I'm not getting as much out of it as I think I should do. If I think I'm not achieving things again. Oh, I haven't found God yet. I've been here 2 weeks. Or...
There's this tremendous resistance, and yet there's such a desire to embrace something else. But it's just battle.
But the real battle is Angela and Victoria's friendship. The nuns are worried this relationship is getting in the way of Angela's spiritual growth.
I don't know what you've been doing upstairs in that little dormitory of yours up there, but we don't go into each other's rooms. Those rooms are private for each one of us.
Three out of the 4 women have now had significant breakthroughs. And as their time in the convent begins to draw to a close, the nuns' focus is now on Angela. "10 days left to go. When the women arrived, the nuns explained their strict regime. 5 a.m. starts, silence, and daily religious instruction. But over the last few weeks, the nuns have had to contend with a catalogue of poor behavior from the women, constant lateness, and persistent breach of the rule of silence.
This life is obviously extremely difficult if you are not called to it.
Because the nuns believe anger prevents charity, they've spent the last 5 weeks biting their lips. It's now gone too far.
And I think we're letting them off the hook far too lightly.
I can't help it because it's part of me and my weakness, but I get angry Perhaps you said anger isn't a fruit, but I cannot help
No,
but.
no.
Because,
I'm not blaming you for
no,
getting angry.
but like you expend so much energy, so much time, your whole life that you've opened up to them. Always there's something wrong.
The thing that I found really staggering from the outside is the number of times I've heard people who are giving sessions say this one or that one hasn't turned up. And I wonder, is this the standard of courtesy in the world today? Do people just not turn up for meetings that have been arranged because they don't feel like it?
Sister Felicity, I don't know how any of them would keep a job.
I think it's both discourtesy. I think it is actually a form of abuse.
It's passive aggression, really.
Yeah, I won't work with it.
I mean, it's sort of
The thing is, I
such
wonder if
basic stuff.
It's basic impoliteness.
You know, we're walking along parallel lines, aren't we? You know, they've got what they came for. We're desperate to share with them why we stay here.
The events of the last few weeks have certainly been an eye-opener for the enclosed community. But it's the exclusive friendship between Victoria and Angela that's worrying the nuns most.
Hey, everybody's got a slightly rebellious streak in them.
Despite willingly leaving husbands and jobs to focus on some real soul-searching, they've become the chief mischief makers.
God, could be any noisier if I tried.
And now they commit the most serious misdemeanor, leaving the convent. The Poor Clare's 800-year-old rules of enclosure state that they should not leave the grounds unless there is an urgent or pressing matter.
You got any dry white wine? Yeah, that's wonderful. Cheers. Hey, here's to many more nights in pubs, even though it's only 4:30.
Victoria and Angela have escaped the inner sanctuary of the convent, hell-bent on proving that the grass is greener.
God, roads are so noisy, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I find it really hard, the noise.
Yeah, but it's good training for us.
Yeah,
Teaching
it's
us to blank it out.
a bit like inmates that were like, they're trying to reaccustom us to the outside. This is the first stage. It was when I put my belt on today, that was the first stage, you see. This is second stage. Noise awareness. Because it sounds a bit like a pie.
Although the nuns are unaware that Victoria and Angela have broken enclosure and left the convent, they do know they feel uncomfortable with their intimate friendship.
Can you tell me why I felt so irritated last night when I saw Angela and Vic walking arm in arm? I felt so irritated.
Because they've become a pair in a way that we do not.
I just thought to myself, I feel it's so inappropriate. But I didn't know if it was just me being testy at the end of the day.
Between an exclusive love and an inclusive love, and when two people link that closely, they are excluding others.
The queue for dinner, kind of someone's arm goes around someone else, someone starts massaging someone's back.
We're not very demonstrative in that way, but they seem to be extraordinarily demonstrative. I'm always
stroking and
I'm always
patting.
fighting off, well, not fighting off exactly, because it wouldn't be nice. Iona, she keeps flinging her arms around my neck. And
She's just so lovely.
but she is. She's a gorgeous little thing. But that's the way they do it. I think they're very touchy-feely sort of thing.
It doesn't irritate me, I must be honest.
It doesn't irritate me, but deeply concerns me. There's some sort of emotional, do you know what? And
You
it's
see,
not one way.
No, it's like a codependency because
it's most unhealthy, actually.
Wait for me, Argentina. The truth is, I never loved you. What have we done with the thing? Oh yeah, got it.
For the poor Clares, this experiment is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. This is the first time since they were founded in the 13th century that they've opened their doors to outsiders, and they don't want to fail their guests. They decide to take the woman on and have called a meeting. Although their guests know a meeting has been called, they have no idea what's on the agenda.
In this sort of situation, you know, a meeting like that once a week is an event. You know, it's sort of like the highlight of the week. You know, something's magical is going to come out of this. So I'm expecting something fantastic, and it'll probably just be right from now on. We're not going to have sago pudding on Fridays.
But it's not sago pudding that will end up on the menu. Instead, it's the nuns' concern about the level of commitment and Angela and Victoria's friendship. It's not the first time their relationship has come under scrutiny.
And I find that I've got a bit of a question of whether, if you were actually to step in a bit more solidly to how we live the life for the next week, whether you mightn't gain another dimension to it which would be valuable for you to take away.
Sometimes through these 5 weeks I have felt a bit kind of about this thing about me and Angela talking, me and Angela hanging out, me and Angela getting in each other's ways of our journeys. It's like, hang on a minute, you know, there are other people having conversations, we're having conversations with other people, we've formed a friendship, yes,
Which is good.
which is wonderful.
Which is good.
But sometimes it's just, I felt a bit hurt by that, a little bit hurt.
Have you shut people out when you're relating to one another?
No.
No, fine, that's okay then. The thing is that friendship, as long as it's not shutting other people out, there's nothing wrong with it.
I don't know, we might have shut people out.
Not intentionally.
I mean, the thing is, you're the only ones who can say whether you've shut people out.
I think that's the key there, not intentionally.
Yes.
I think, I mean, if you ask, have you shut people out? Immediately I felt yes, and then you said no.
I think because you two are kind of in each other's pockets, and you're like a little gang.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's sort of a byproduct. It sort of happens, doesn't it, without you really knowing it's happening.
And you said it's not intentional, so it's an opportunity to say, sorry about that, making you feel like that. You know, if that's how you felt.
But there again, you see, it might not be necessary for them to say sorry, because it might actually be my problem that I feel shut out.
Right.
So it could be my baggage that I'm bringing that I just feel shut out, you know. So it's a difficult one, that, isn't it, really?
I can't know I've hurt you until...
There was a comment made about, I'm not sure, I think it was Vic that said they hadn't shut anybody else out. And I thought, well, actually I do feel a bit shut out. So I said that. Bad thing to say, because that just set the ball rolling. And I didn't mean it in that way, you know. So then I had to quickly backtrack and backpedal and then say, but that's probably my baggage. Oh. So I'd already started to dig myself, you know, dig my own grave, hadn't I?
I mean, all the way along, people are kind of been like, oh, you know, you're spending too much time together, you're getting in the way of each other's journeys, and kind of a slight disapproving of this friendship. And I think, hang on a minute, it just makes it sound like we've formed some kind of lesbian love tryst, which we haven't. And that kind of upset me and peed me off a bit, actually.
You can't have a great number of women in the one house without some sort of order.
Aware of the disharmony particular friendships can cause, Sister Clare Agnes bases today's religious lesson on St. Clare and the rules for community living she wrote 800 years ago. words still very pertinent for convent life today.
If there is trouble between two sisters, let the one who was the cause of it ask pardon, and the other one forgive generously. And there used to be a great ceremony of this. Say I had a row with you, and I was the one who started it, right? I would have to come to you, I would have to kneel down at your feet, and I would have to say, Angela, I'm really sorry for what I said to you just now. I ask your humble forgiveness. And then you would kneel down and you would say, dear sister, I forgive you. And you know, it was kind of formal like that. Now we don't do that these days, but we have to do it. We have to not go to bed without putting things right if you've had a shindig with a sister.
St. Clair's words have a real impact on Iona, the youngest member of the group. She's had a hard time grappling with issues of discipline in the convent, but she's eager to better understand the nuns' way of life. She decides to press her mentor, Sister Elred, on how living together in a close community works.
Is it true that you're not really allowed or meant to have kind of best or close, to say you have the closest friend within a convent? Or are you meant to generally love one another exactly the same way?
You can't love one another exactly the same way. It's totally impossible because some people you warm to very much, and it's a difficult one, that, because you can't, your feelings are only to a certain extent subject to control, aren't they? So obviously you feel closer to some people. You can talk to some people more easily. And that's not a problem. But everybody's your sister. So as far as possible, I think one needs to try to make every person in the community into, at some genuine level, a special friend. Friendship is a gift.
Okay. Oh, that's lovely. Okay.
I mean, that's what I've tried to live by, and if there's somebody that I sense thinks I don't like them, or if I have a difficulty, I would really try and give that special care.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the theory. Yeah. In life, it isn't always, as you know, so simple.
Yeah. No, that makes it a lot easier.
So thank you, Lord, for everything. Amen.
These women are kind of anti-competitive. They're like making a place where they're really trying every day to love one another and to build one another up, and that it be an inclusive environment, you know, and that they in themselves would be inclusive, and they are. I'd love to be able to become kind of that. Yeah, I suppose. That beautiful, you know, in the way that they're beautiful. It's really amazing, it really is. It's funny because it's so anti kind of what I've understood, you know, as beauty and as, you know, because I always understood beauty to be kind of mysterious, kind of, you know, and perfect looking at all times. And like these women are just like completely themselves and so just, like these incredible wells of humanity and love, and they really battle themselves. They have all these struggles, you know. They have these struggles, which I have like a million struggles, and things I really, really have problems with, you know, in terms of my Christian walk. And these girls, yeah, they're having exactly the same kind of struggles, but you know, I think they're winning, you know.
The women have been here for 35 days now. Each morning there is an opportunity for them to take a blessing at the public mass held in the chapel. Iona, Angela, and even atheist Victoria all receive a daily blessing. But Debbie has so far refused. Being abandoned by her mother as a child has left her feeling unworthy, and receiving a blessing has become her final stumbling block. Debbie's daily struggle affects all the others in the convent. But it's Angela who's the most irritated.
We've had this ongoing scenario with Debbie every day at Mass. Now Debbie, who's now moved on spiritually further down the line, so she says, and he's actually christened Catholic, has always had this everyday terrible stress in respect of getting up off her chair and going for the blessing. It's almost become like a little bit of a soap opera.
Angela's annoyance comes to a head. But rather than trying to tell Debbie why she's bothered, she gives her the cold shoulder for the rest of the day. Being blanked by Angela hasn't passed Debbie by. She makes herself scarce and then skips dinner.
Never were such devoted sisters. Just kind of picture it. Just begin to see the village and what the weather's like.
But she does come down for her one-to-one visual meditation session with Sister Pat. However, Angela's unsisterly behaviour is still playing on her mind.
And notice how she smiles. I'm sorry, Pat, I can't do this.
It's okay.
My nerves are just all over the place and I just can't get there. I've just got like interruptions, you know, images and...
Okay, so what are they? Talk me through them.
I'm just trying to go over every single thing that I've done and said.
It may be like you thought this morning, that it's because you've stepped in so fully and she's aware that she hasn't. And it may be that she's feeling bad about herself somewhere because she's not stepped in. You know, I live in a community. When something goes wrong between us, we cannot actually go for a drink, for a walk, whatever. You know, there are occasions when I'd like to just, or would have liked in the past sometimes, just to walk out of the door and be away for the next 24 or 48 hours or something and come back when the wind's blown over. You can't do that when you live in our context. Before we do anything of what we came here for tonight, let's just sit and let's actually pray together about this. Heavenly Father, we come to you in the confusion and the pain and the muddle. We bring you the discord. We bring you Angela's refusal to talk, her refusal to acknowledge Debbie's looks today, and the pain that is for Debbie. We ask that somehow you will bring good from this. And Father, I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
While Angela has Victoria for support, Debbie is left to work through their silent feud alone. And neither has taken to heart that poor Claire Nunn's pledge never to let the sun go down in an argument. The following day, and Angela's continued frustration with Debbie forms the focus of her mentor session with Sister Gabriel.
Hello. I'm sorry I'm late.
Why do you think that became such an issue for you? Do you know? I mean, do you want to...
Yeah, because I was worried that she was being disingenuous. And I can't stand... One of the big things I have a problem with is dishonesty, in any form. You know, I can see all the good parts of her personality. You know, she's a caring person,
she's a hard person for me to be in here with, because she's an emotional roller coaster and she's so up and down, and sometimes I just want to shake her. You know, it does make you think about dealing with somebody like Debbie outside of here, you know.
I suppose first of all we've got to deal with ourselves, haven't we? Looking at it, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I'm realising that I need to be less judgmental and more, or I think that's what I need to be, less judgmental and more compassionate.
I'm crying again. It's okay.
I think I can't bear seeing people in pain. What's the problem? I always think there must be something you can do to sort it out.
I think that maybe, you know, this issue, this incident, whatever, you know, with Debbie is something, you know, that has, you know, triggered something off inside you. And I think, you know, to look at that and to look at that pain and suffering. When you live our life day in, day out, week in, week out, there are conflicts and there are issues that we have to deal with. And perhaps they're beginning to really live together. I think it will do Angela a lot of good. Somehow this, whatever it is that she thinks Debbie is doing, she can see it in herself. And so if she thinks that Debbie is being disingenuous, I think the reality is that she's been doing that herself. Which is a really tough one to face in the last week. I hope she does it.
I have to say I was absolutely astonished that you got up.
Despite seeming to take on board Sister Gabriel's appeal for compassion, Angela just can't move on.
Explain to me the rationale of why you can't have the blessing, and that might help.
Why do you need to know that?
Because I sit there watching you in agony every day.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why. I don't understand why.
A blessing to me is
That's what I'm
a commitment of how I feel. And I don't feel I can go up for a blessing until I feel I've got an honest heart.
Having a blessing doesn't mean you make any commitment. It's not you saying, I believe in the blood and body of Christ. It's letting the priest give you a blessing and blessing you.
It's about him.
So I don't understand
Angela,
what you say.
No, you don't understand at all. This is the thing. You don't understand.
No, well, tell me.
It's about somebody telling me that I'm worth that. Until I feel that I have forgiven the people that hurt me in my life, then I will feel that I am worthy then, because I have forgiven the people that have hurt me the most. So then I am worthy of going to get a blessing. And I'm not going to make apologies for the way I feel.
I want to go home. I really want to go home. I want to pack now. It won't be the first time that I've run away in my life. But if I go home, it'll be with my tail between my legs. Because I came in here to get stronger for my family and all the people that love me. And the way for me to get stronger was to come to terms with my childhood
and rejection from my parents and lots of other people, and forgive, let go. I don't know whether to be strong or to give up.
Stress and strain has permeated every aspect of convent life. So far, the nuns have not told the women how they really feel. But Sister Felicity can't disguise her feelings any longer.
So has there been times when I've thought, this was actually all a big mistake? And then there are times that I think, no, this looks as if it's been really good. And I suppose at the moment I'm sort of halfway in between, saying, no, it wasn't a mistake, but how good it's been, I'm not sure. You know, and maybe, as you said, it's down the road that we'll actually see that. It certainly cost a lot more than I think we ever dreamed. And whilst we're in our home environment, it is our home. So we are grappling with almost a sense that for this period it's not home.
The guests are brought up short by Sister Felicity's stark honesty. The nuns have been working hard on the women's behalf. It's time for the guests to match that with their own commitment. They've been given just 40 days to get their lives back on track, and time is running out. This thought galvanizes the two stray sheep in the flock into action.
I do believe it's just the start of a journey. Gosh, I'm just going to value everything so much. I don't ever want to lose that now. I've took so much for granted.
For Victoria, despite a home life devoid of routine or boundaries, she's beginning to find comfort in the day-to-day rhythm of convent life.
The kind of gentle washing over of the days, the repetitiveness of the praying and the chanted psalms, the movement within it of the emotions, and the space to just be with my own movements of emotions and being much more in tune with them. I really feel like I've turned a corner. Just a sense of peace kind of built inside of me, and yeah, really.
Things are moving in their lives and changes are happening, and it's fascinating to watch and to see how somehow their subconsciouses have timed them. So they've got 40 days and 40 nights, so okay, we're drawing towards the end of that, things had better start happening.
So far, Angela has resisted opening herself to the process. Twice divorced, she has issues of trust. But the bond she's built up with her mentor, Sister Gabriel, is starting to pay off. As she pens her first religious poem, she's at last able to give herself emotionally.
You know, I'm quite proud of this song, I've decided. I mean, Gabriel said it's really brave. I suppose it is putting out there exactly what you are and who you are, but maybe
maybe that is the only way that you move forward. And when you're very private like I am, maybe sometimes it's easier to write than it is to actually say these things.
Saviour, do you see me, wandering this desert called life, lacking direction, often confused, my soul wasted and unnourished, elusive, out of reach? Can you see me, Saviour? Can you rescue me from days filled with mindless progress, prevent me from drowning in independence? Give me then the courage to walk the unknown, to open my life to your path, to have patience to continue even when it seems nothing is moving, to accept me as I am, to reveal what I will become.
It's wonderful, really.
My soul wasted and unnourished. That's because I don't really know where it is, what it is. So I imagine it has been something shrivelled up somewhere in the darker recesses of myself. I mean, I think that bit speaks for itself. Can you rescue me from days filled with mindless progress? Because one of the things I've had to focus on here is that I quantify everything in my life by how much progress I've made. It's a word that everybody keeps laughing about. So the fourth line, I think, is really important because the thing that I thought was one of the most important things about me and my life, and one of my strongest personality points, and how I've judged other people a lot, is that I was very independent and I could look after myself and I didn't need anybody else. But that's because obviously all the things that I've been through, that was my way of coping. So, but I've realised that it's actually been very detrimental. And particularly, I think, in a relationship point of view, that's very difficult for some men, I think, because it's a natural thing to want to look after somebody. And so I think I can be quite intimidating from that point of view. But the other point is that I wouldn't have realised that about independence unless I'd lived here, because the fact that I felt safe here and you had a routine and everything was taken care of is the first time for many years that I've been able to give up having to totally look after myself and let other people contribute to looking after me.
Right.
So, and I don't know how else I would have been able to have done that.
Was that a good feeling?
Sorry.
It's all right. The thing is, what is so attractive and beautiful about it is that it's you see.
Yeah.
It's your journey, isn't it? And that, I think that's why, why it touches so deeply, really.
Angela arrived the sharp, successful businesswoman. Her time in the convent has taught her to re-evaluate her life.
One of the things that might become most important is my parents. And I don't spend enough time with them. Certainly very little quality time. And I've no idea, realistically thinking about things, I might possibly only have 10 years. And some of the things that I do instead of seeing them, and some of the people I do those things with, are worth nothing.
So that's something I need to keep telling myself every week, I think. And so I think your priorities have to change.
Victoria arrived the consummate atheist, but her time here has made her concede a spiritual side. Time in this loving environment has given her the confidence to start a dialogue with the figure on the cross.
So I went into the chapel and I sat there and I was just like, well, looking up at the crucifix. I just started just pouring out silently all the times I've felt hurt and all the times I have been hurt. I sat there and I gave away all of this stuff that I realised I'd been attached to, all of these things that had defined me. I was asked in a very strong way, now is your time to choose. Do you want this path? Do you want this path of a lover, a poet, a fool? Because if you don't have to have it. It can be taken from you right now. And it's the first time in my life that I felt that I had a choice to choose who I am.
Vic's not a Catholic, she's never going to become one. But it's lovely to see that somewhere he is touching people's lives through their being with us. And that's good.
Debbie, too, is finally putting the ghosts from her childhood to rest.
I'm writing letters to my mum and my dad. And the theory is that if I burn these letters once I've written them down, if I burn these things, then I will feel better. You know, it's a scary thing to be healed. I thought it would be really easy, actually. I thought this is going to be easy, light a fire and just chuck them in, but it's not very easy at all.
Well, why don't you do it quickly, like jumping in a pool? Well done. Well done, my dear, well done. That's a girl. There's a girl.
I don't feel any different, Claire Agnes.
No, you won't. You won't feel any different for a bit, but soon you will. I'm really proud of you. And you've got great guts, but you've got to carry on having great guts. You'll build on your strengths. You've got so many strengths, Debbie.
Do never ask, Lord,
For 38 days, Debbie has refused to take a blessing. But today at Mass, with just 2 days before leaving for home, Debbie lines up along with everyone else.
My tummy was all butterflies and everything, and my heart was going really fast. But I wasn't like, hallelujah, hooray, you know. And I just felt incredibly calm, like, oh, like I've done this now, and I'm at peace with myself, and it's, you know, I feel I can feel differently about myself now. That I've passed, it's sort of like a rite of passage, really, that I can. It has, without a doubt, given me a sense of self-worth. I have to say that. Not a huge sense, but a start of one. It's been a drip, drip, drip effect with me. So, my cue to go. That's why does the bathroom always flush when I've got something really, you know, poignant to say? Why does that happen? As soon as I say something, you know, nice and to end my little diary on, you know, whoosh. Oh gosh.
Today is the last day of the 6-week-long experiment. 40 days ago, Victoria, Iona, Debbie and Angela first walked through these convent doors, all looking for deeper meaning to their lives.
Sorry, George.
They came to see what relevance an 800-year-old tradition could bring. Have the tantrums, arguments, heartache and joy brought them any closer to what they were looking for?
Last few days have been really crucial in respect of me and my personal journey. I have made a commitment to myself when I get out of here to look at different religions and different churches and find something possibly that suits me, whether that be Catholic or whatever it be. I'm just keeping an open mind.
Over the last 6 weeks, they should have attended 280 church services, and over 500 prayers have been said. This is their 40th Mass. They are old pros now, and even the once God-fearing Debbie has fully embraced the ritual.
I'd like to pray for the gift of guidance and thank the Lord for wonderful sisters and the help and the guidance they've given to us all. And hope that they understand that they will always have a special place in all our hearts.
Father Albert from Holland has led many of the masses over the last 6 weeks, and the women have become fond of his quirky ways. But will he be able to charm them today? The day's gospel is on marriage and the evil of divorce. But 3 of the 4 women sitting amongst the nuns are divorcees.
Is it against the law for a man to divorce his wife? He said to them, the man who divorces his wife and marries another is guilty of adultery against her. And if a woman divorces her husband and marries another, she is guilty of adultery too. Husband and wife are called to love each other permanently, always, forever. The challenge to us today is to uphold the ideal put before us by Jesus and yet remain compassionate to those unable to live the ideal in their relationships.
Strong meat, and for most of the women real food for thought. But Victoria's response is the most surprising. 6 weeks ago, she would have felt the Catholic Church was singling her out for judgment. But the new Victoria appears able to shrug it all off with good grace.
I do feel part of this circle now, even though I'm wildly different. There's something very moving and strengthening in that level of acceptance.
May Almighty God bless you, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
I think the main change is being myself. I've got a sneaky suspicion that the person who's been disapproving of me has been me.
I wish seekers a good journey home. I see you have done your work, because I see already some bare feet over there. And I see some crosses around necks. I see long skirts. Good luck to you. Look forward to seeing you again.
If someone had told me I needed to be enclosed in order to discover that I'm free, I wouldn't have believed them. But it's true.
Victoria's time in the convent has also helped her re-evaluate her relationship with husband Adam.
A lot of the worries I have about my relationship at home that I used to have, they've gone. I think it has strengthened our relationship. It always comes back to the same point, which is I love the person that he is, and I want more of that person. I have dreams of having a wonderful country cottage somewhere with lots of flowers and my loved ones in it and my bouncing babies. You know, me and Adam and whatever persuasion that might be in. An Arga. How terribly bourgeois of me.
An evangelical Christian, Iona came into the convent curious about celibacy. In here, she's realized it was the wrong question. Personal discipline in the wider sense is what she's discovered.
Take your canvas, God, and sketch on it a new life for me. Shape me, style me, and shade me with your spirit. Paint over the old me with all my blemishes and flaws, and draw me again, so that I can see the world from your perspective. And it's called God's Masterpiece. That's how I feel. It's been agony, it's been horrible. It's been awful. An environment I would never choose, you know, for my life. But nobody likes pain when you're going through pain, but the discipline of that pain has actually brought out something in me that I needed. Being here has basically jammed me into a mould I don't fit. And yet that mould has allowed me to grow more. See what I mean?
They've become more in touch with themselves and not trapped in this culture where, you know, you're more valued for what you have rather than for who you are. And I think each of them has discovered that path of living. It's the love, you see, that really does it in the end. And I think community life does bring that out. If you can be more there for other people, you become more in touch with your best and deepest self, if you can be more loving in your relationships. And that is of value wherever you are.
The 4 guests are leaving the nuns' enclosed world to pick up the lives they left on the outside.
Here she comes, here's Debbie.
I know, it's really, do you see this? It's a miracle. This is what I'm going back with.
Though they have fought hard against the process, Iona, Debbie, Victoria and Angela have made some solid friendships along the way. Now they're ready to continue their own journey.
Bye.
Take care of yourself.
Yes, I will. I'm going to really take good care of myself now. Something I've not been.
We're not here in a holy huddle for ourselves. That's our main aim, is to sort of somehow relate the values we find here to other people and perhaps find joy and happiness for themselves. Because I think that's what the world needs really, is some joy.
I'm going to be very, very
Take care, all of you.
You're leaving your baggage behind.
Oh, the sun's coming out. Notice the sun. That's especially for you.
Now, if you missed any of that or just want to watch it again, then you'll find the whole final episode on BBC Two's broadband website for the next week. Plus, there are special clips from the rest of the series too.
If you've been affected by any of the issues in tonight's programme and would like to talk to someone in confidence, please call the BBC Action Line on 08000 688 456. All calls are free and confidential. Lines are open every day from 7:30 a.m. until midnight.